Hey there, this is Seth from DevExpress with Robert Green.
From Microsoft.
Yeah, what do you do?
I'm a technical evangelist in the Developer and Platform Evangelism Group, also known as DPE.
Fantastic.
And I'm the host of the Visual Studio Toolbox show on Channel 9.
I have been on that show.
Twice?
Yes.
Twice?
Yeah.
How many times have I been here on your show? This would be the first.
Well, I mean, we, have standards that we,
And I don't.
So, I mean, obviously if you had me on your show, there's no standards at all. Well, I wanted to talk to you about some of the cool stuff that's happened at Bill. What do you think is interesting for our developers to know about?
Universal apps.
Tell me about those.
So the concept of the universal app is that you can create a new XAML app.
Okay.
And Visual Studio will create for you a Windows Store app and a Windows Phone app and a shared project which contains code that's shared across both.
Interesting.
And then you build it once and you've got essentially one app. Now when you submit it to the store, you submit two different packages.
I see.
But you as a developer, you're treating it as a single app. And if you kind of compare that to what you got to do today, if you want a store app and a phone app, you build the store app, and then you build an entirely different project with the phone app.
Interesting, yeah.
XAML is similar across, but it's not exactly the same. The API set is not, there's some overlap, but nowhere near as much as people would like.
Right.
With the universal apps, we've got API convergence of about 80% or so.
Okay.
And a lot of the same XAML is the same. So what you can do in a universal app is it's kind of familiar with portable class libraries?
Yeah,
so it's
absolutely.
Kind of like portable class libraries brought to the next level.
Interesting.
In that, this shared product contains code, your models, your view models, your data access code, and potentially a lot of your views as well.
Now, traditionally the views couldn't be shared.
Right,
How is that possible now?
Because Windows Phone 8.1 apps are running on a runtime, essentially the same runtime as the Windows Store apps.
So there's more of a convergence between the device, the phone device, and the tablet device. Okay.
Yes. So if you build a new hub app, right?
Okay.
File a new project, universal app, you choose a hub app. That hub page is actually in the shared project.
Wow.
And what's really cool about it is the hub renders differently on PC and a phone at runtime. We get a little bit of, we're kind of stepping down that path of just kind of dynamic rendering where the runtime understands that on a phone it should look this way, and on a tablet or a PC it looks a different way. So
interesting.
So you can get hopefully a lot of your XAML in the shared app, write that once.
Okay.
If you need to make code that's unique to each, then you could create pages and user controls in the store app as well as the phone app. And then the cool thing is, in your code, in the shared app, somebody clicks a tile or a button and you want to bring up a page, you write code that says navigate to the customer page, and then at runtime, the runtime is smart enough to know if you're on the phone, bring the phone version of customerpage.xaml, and if you're on a tablet, bring the Windows 8 version of customerpage.xaml. You can also do, pound if running on a Windows Store, Windows 8 app, else running on a Windows Phone app, but there's a lot, the convergence is such that there's a lot of code and UI that you can actually write once and then use in both.
Interesting, and I also saw in the Visual Studio demo that in the actual tab you could right-click and switch between each of the XAML pages. Is that something that's going to be soon in Visual Studio?
That was in Visual Studio Update 2RC.
And I think that came out today, right?
Yeah,
you can go download it from MSDN right away.
Exactly.
Well, that's really cool. Anything else at Build that you think is really cool that we found out at day one?
The Cortana stuff is very, very cool.
That's right. Now, the thing about us, for nerdy people like us, I kind of like Halo when it came out, and as soon as we saw that circle with Cortana, pretty fantastic. What is it interesting about Cortana that you'd like to tell our developers?
The idea that it's a digital personal assistant that learns about me, and the more you use it, the more it learns about you.
Right.
So, things like telling it, wake me up tomorrow, it'll create a reminder, remind me to do something, what appointments do I have Saturday, or, things like that, where you can actually just talk to the phone and it will do things instead of, you having to swipe around and look at the apps. We're getting think about it, we've done that with the Xbox, we're not doing it with the phone. I'd love to see the same thing on my PC as well.
Sure, yeah, I know.
Where I don't have to necessarily move the mouse and move my fingers, I can just talk, right? Show me appointments I have. I would love to be able to talk to the phone and say, when's my haircut?
Yeah, that's true.
And it tells me, right? That's very cool instead of having to look it up.
Now, with developers and Cortana, there's a link there that you guys have made too, right?
Yeah, because Cortana's built on Bing. Bing has an API, so there's SDKs that you'll be able to use that stuff, and eventually, I assume you'd be able to put it in applications as well, right? So you'd be able to turn on the application and say, show me East Region sales for last quarter.
Right.
Right?
I also saw that you could call apps individually and say, for example, Skype calls so-and-so, and it loads Skype and does that. Or Facebook, show me Steven, for example, and it does that.
Yep.
So there's really tight integration with apps and Cortana as well. Well, I think it's pretty exciting stuff.
There's also the Windows 8.1 update one.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And if you're on a touch device, there's a couple extra things. The power button and the search button are on the home page, which on a device that doesn't respond well to touch, like my laptop,
that's right.
That's pretty handy.
Right.
But also the ability to pin store apps to the taskbar is cool. And the reason that I really like that is, and I'm in Visual Studio and I'm listening to something on Xbox Music.
Right.
In the past, if I needed to pause it, I'd have to leave Visual Studio, go to the Xbox Music app, and then press the pause button.
Right.
And then when I wanted to play the music again, I had to go do the same thing. Now with it pinned to the taskbar, all I got to do is hover the mouse over it. The little preview thing comes up with the pause button right there,
fantastic.
so I can pause and start again without having to leave context. I think that feature is reason alone to be excited about it.
And also, there's a start menu?
We showed a preview of what the start menu would look like in the future.
Cool.
With it being able to, it looked like it was actually running store apps.
Right, it did,
so
I know.
If you want to see what the weather is today, again, leave context, you're coding and you want to go, what's the temperature? You got to leave the context, go to the start screen, and look at the live tile, hit now. From what I saw, you can go to the start screen, and then it pulls up apps and you can look at the live tile there. So, more of a seamlessness. Obviously, when we first introduced Windows 8, many people felt that the transition between the desktop and the start screen was jarring. And a lot of the stuff that we've been doing is to reduce that and make it more one seamless experience. And
just the way we're
helping a lot.
Just the way we're talking, I feel like there's a general openness now about Microsoft. In fact, Satya, the CEO of Microsoft, comes out looking like a dev in a t-shirt and pants, answering questions. Tell me about this new openness.
You also saw it with Terry talking about what's coming in the next version.
That's right, roadmap type stuff.
Roadmap type stuff. We'd heard loud and clear that people wanted to get a better sense of what was coming, and we're responding to that. So I think you'll hopefully see more of that. I think today was a good taste of that.
That's great. Now, I think there's a lot of exciting stuff for our developers to look at. Thanks so much for spending a minute with me, Robert.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We'll see you soon, and we'll talk to you next time.